Welcome back to the case study of Vanitas, anime review episode number 5. For those of you in the 5th episode of the series, Remembrance Friends. Now, I did look it up. It finished up chapter 8. Yes, adapt from pretty much pages like 2651, finished up that very chapter, and it went through the entirety of chapter 9. And they went through the first 12 pages of chapter 10. 12 out of 46. So, yeah, that one take up a lot of next week's episode. Yeah. Oh, if you're curious though, like how long is the Belle Masquerade arc? It goes on to like chapter 13. So, not much left of it now. I'd say based on how much is left to be adapted, I'd say we got about 2, 3 more episodes out of this. Possibly, yes. So we pick up from last week where we have the charlatan and Noe, where basically about to come face to face and they come close and be basically fighting them, and then the charlatan is like, I've seen your face before. Through someone else's eyes. Lewis. And then we have flashback of when he first met Lewis. Now in the manga, they actually show like a very bloody scene. They put that scene appropriately enough at the end of this flashback. The whole episode is simply put basically about Noe's his childhood mostly. They do mention, and they keep this in the manga too, that Dominique's grandfather, who was Noe's teacher, like brought him from some travelers. They mentioned his parents apparently died. Like, it's not really explained exactly what happened to his parents. His grandparents were killed, and then taken with kidnappers, and eventually a teacher. He's called teacher, even though that he technically, I don't know if he owns him per se, but he did. So it was actually the grandfather used to call him teacher, not basically at the start of it. It's not like, oh, he calls him master. He says, "Don't call me master, call me teacher." And he explains this while the three of them. While we have Noe, Dominique, and Lewis, who looks like to be Dominique's older brother, and they seem like they're very close siblings, not in a very gross type of way, but just close in a sibling sense. So they play. And they also show off basically in a flashback. Of course, this was established as part of this, where Noe has his ability to drink people's blood and read their memories. Dominic just basically, hey, he's like, kind of like, you do that, and he just bites her finger. Unlike in the present day stuff, he bites basically like her collar area, and she actually likes it. Yeah, she likes it when she drinks her blood, apparently. And he's like, looks like, oh, I see a lot of images of me. Yeah, from what I can tell for this is very much implying at this point Dominique had a thing for Noe. Even though at this point they're just friends. I wouldn't be surprised if basically that if these two became, well, even though these two, it's implied that she does have a thing for, even by present day standards. And apparently she's got no problem in present day of stripping in front of him. Yeah, no problem with him seeing her naked. Maybe they probably had done something. I'm not sure. So, he bites Lewis. He was kind of forced into it by his own sister. He always sees him dark. He starts crying. And we see Sora basically meeting some friends named Jenny, Mills. Actually, it's Mina. What is the name of these kids here? Because basically, it's a good number of kids. It is, I know it's Mina, Fred, Jennels, Fanny, and Moore. Yes, Moore. It is mentioned, though, by Lewis that he doesn't really talk to his family very much because they pretty much disowned him. They explain later on in the episode the reason why, because he's a curse bearer. Yep, that's the reason why. Which the curse bearer, in case you know what the heck it is, in case you haven't been watching the series, it simply put the ability to have vampires go berserk. Yep. So throughout this period of time, we see a lot of growth. Them hang out this particular. They have Noe hanging out this mansion. At one point, you have Lightning, and you have Dominique, and Noe they look a little bit older. I'd say presumably around like preteenish, and they sleep in bed together. And of course, Noe just falls asleep, and of course, they're biting his arm, but not basically when he's bleeding. And there's a brief conversation between Lewis and his grandfather over if he's in control. Like, no, I'm just basically doing whatever the heck you want. And then later on, of course, you see him like carving stuff. He's probably thinking, what the heck is he carving? It looks like a spike. Yeah, it's revealed at the end of the episode what he was carving was wooden stakes. And the reason why, because Lois wanted no way to kill him because he was a curse bearer. That was simply the reason for it. So, and after during one of these sessions, basically, whatever this gift is, it is found out that Mina is a curse bearer and she's scheduled to be executed. Because that's basically the standard procedure. If you're a curse bearer, of course, they do show the blue moon in the flash, which looks very beautiful in the anime. So, then of course they basically free her, take her to their sacred hideout, which looks like an abandoned church. And then she goes berserk, biting one of them, and then eventually Lewis kills her, and then he goes berserk, kills the other two, but then of course he's trying to have Noe kill him, but luck of his grandfather shows up, and then he kills Lewis. And when Noe after he kills Lewis right in front of him, basically his grandfather looks kind of weird, and eventually it clears up. He's perfectly fine, and then of course he's basically in like a study room, just trying to mourn Lewis's death because they're very close friends. And then of course Dominique comes in with this chest, and then of course wondering what the heck is inside of it, and it turns out it's basically the wooden stakes like I just mentioned. And of course then we eventually cut back to present day, where Charlton basically is asking Noe his true name, and then Vanitas shows up and basically still with the bite mark on him, probably from Genie from last episode. He's like 9, and of course he smiles, and that's the episode ends. I gotta say, this was actually a really good episode. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, in case you're curious though, why they only dub like half of these freaking chapters, because these chapters are freaking long. Like, oh my gosh, these chapters are so long. Like, take for example, chapter 8, the one I just finished this episode. 51 pages. Yes, 51. 9 is 43, and 10, which is where they left off with, that's 46 pages. The next chapter, next episode, well, presumably anyways, is 51 pages. Yes, that is the thing when it comes to this manga. The chapters are really, really long. It is shocking, though, that the chapters are not 100 pages. I mean, I think like the longest chapter I read for a manga was the first chapter of Seraph of the End. That was 80 pages, that first chapter was. And damn, it was long. It's like reading like a giant-sized one-shot. But that's apparently what the creator did for the series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the person who created the manga is the same person who created, well, Pandora Hearts. And this is the most recent manga that I think it's a woman who created this one. I believe so. It's Jun Mizuki. Yes, that is the name of the person who actually created, well, the case study of Vanitas, which I love the manga. It is so freaking good. And I've only read for the manga for case study only the first 51 chapters. That's basically as far as I've got with it. I haven't got any further with it for some reason. Yes. But I'm looking forward next week, which we're probably going to get closer and closer to wrapping up this particular arc. How much more? Like I said, I'd say presumably about 3 episodes. Do I think they're gonna finish the first core of the series within the next three episodes? It's possible, to say the least. Yes, it is distinctly possible, but it all depends upon what the studio wants to do with it. Yep. Oh, in case you're curious, though, the studio who made the series is Bones, as in the very same studio who created My Hero Academia. And they also created Full Alchemist, Soul Eater, which was done by the same person who did Fire Force. And aside from these few like anime, which I've watched anyways, like there is not much else basically that this company has done. Currently, this is one of two things they're working on right now. The other, of course, being the 5th season of My Hero Academia, because they're not working on anything else. And the one thing I hope, though, is that with this season being hopefully being a success, that we might get a chance to see a part 2. When is it come out? I don't have any idea. Now, it's 5 episodes, and if for some reason the Specific Funimation does have the license to dub it, they do. Now, unlike the first show I watched today, which was, How Real is Super Kingdom, they announced just yesterday the dub. This one they haven't for some reason. I'm not really sure why they have not announced it, but yeah. Maybe they might announce who's going to be dubbing this particular thing. Heck, I could potentially see Todd Hepburn voicing one of the characters. Which one, you probably think? Vanitas seems like the most one character you could have a blast doing. Noe, I'm not really sure. But what about, let's say, Genie, for example? I could easily see Colin Clickenbeard voicing this woman. Yeah, I could easily see it, but it all depends on Funimation of what they want to do. We'll probably find out soon, but hopefully it's not too long, because we're already 5 episodes in and no dub yet. Which you're thinking, that's weird, no announcement of a dub? You would think so. They have a license to dub it. They released the sub, so why not do the dub? But we have to wait and see about that. I haven't seen any articles released exactly like if we're going to get a dub for this one. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. The fact that there's no announcement of a dub for this one. I mean, they had one for How Another Seven Demon Lord, but they waited until pretty much when the season was already over by the time they finally announced it. Yeah, but time will tell exactly when in the world they're going to announce a dub for this one. I hope it's soon. And I personally hope that Todd Hepburn gets a chance to dub this one, because I think you would have a blast with this. Especially as Vanitas is basically a bit of an overtop character in the series. And, well, I definitely think Todd Hepburn basically would have so much fun with this. But what about Noe? Could that be possible one you could do? It's possible. But I think Vanitas basically be a lot more into the character, a lot more basically Todd Hepburn's warehouse to voice this character over, let's say, Noe. Yep. So yeah, that's a particular view. Stay tuned for my next view, which will be Case Closed. Okay? Next video. Bye.